give the name because the person does not want their name revealed.
It's a relative of yours, right?
Yes, and it would be unfair of me to drag them into this when they don't want to be there.
Dr. Carson, can you explain the use of the term scholarship and West Point, your use of that in the past
Sure.
in the book, and the involvement of General Wyndham Westmoreland in
It-
getting that scholarship to West Point?
If you look at one of the websites that West Point has today, it says government offered full scholarship to West Point. So they use that very language themselves. So almost 50 years ago, they may have been using that language as well.
But
The
did you
situation,
understand it at the time that you needed to apply?
no, it didn't go to that extent because they were very impressed with what I had done. I had become the city executive officer in less time than anybody else had ever done that. And they were saying, you would be a tremendous addition to the military, and we can get you into West Point with a full scholarship. And I simply said, I want to be a doctor. I really appreciate it. I'm very flattered. And I moved on. So it didn't go on any further than that.
To what extent do you believe your West Point account is relevant to the public's assessment of you as a presidential candidate?
I don't think it's relevant at all, but I think what it shows, and these kinds of things show, is that there is a desperation on behalf of some to try to find a way to tarnish me because they have been looking through everything. They have been talking to everybody I've ever known, everybody I've ever seen. There's got to be a scandal. There's got to be some nurse he's having an affair with. There's got to be something. They are getting desperate. So next week, it'll be my kindergarten teacher who said I peed in my pants. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But it's okay because I totally expect it.
Can you tell us, just clarify your meeting with General Westmoreland? When was this and what was talked about?
Well, I was invited to a number of events because of my position. There was, this is almost 50 years ago, but there was a lot of excitement about some Congressional Medal of Honor winners, at least one of which was from Detroit. And there was a big affair that I was invited to, and that's the one where I had an opportunity to meet the general. And that was also a time, as I recall, that several of the high brass told me that I would be somebody that they would be interested in the military.
That's not the same, though, Dr. Carson, as being actually offered a scholarship. Having someone say, we can get you in with a scholarship, doesn't mean you've actually been given a scholarship.
Well, it was an offer to me. It was specifically made.
You interpreted it as an offer, or was it?
I interpreted it as an offer. I made it very clear in my. I don't remember the names. I don't remember the names of the people. It's almost 50 years ago. I bet you don't remember all the people you talked to 50 years ago. But anyway, they told me this was available to me because of my accomplishments and that they would be delighted for me to do it. And I told them immediately that my intention was to become a physician. It always has been. And I was very honored, but I would not be pursuing that. I also made it very clear in my book that I only applied to one college. I only had enough money to apply to one college. And I decided to apply to the college that won the grand championship in college ball. And that year, the grand championship was between Harvard and Yale. You can go back, I'm sure, and find the records and see that it was, in fact, between Harvard and Yale, and that Yale demolished Harvard. So, I mean, probably anybody who's associated with Harvard wouldn't want you to find those records, but it's there. Go ahead, right here.
To those who say you may have exaggerated and you're using that to build your resume as far as the West Point, what would you say to those people who think you're...
I would say, where's the exaggeration?
Dr. Carson, one of your opponents has already said this is the beginning of the end. How do you think this will affect you in the polls, if it will at all?
Well, you said the key word there, opponent. What do you expect them to say? Okay.
Dr. Carson, intimated or intimated that we would get some more details potentially as early as this weekend about your childhood friends that you were involved in violence with, potentially revealing Bob or Jerry. Can you expand on this? Are we going to get their identities?
Well, if you want to find their identity, let me tell you where you probably should go. You should go to the incident where it happened, to the place where it happened, Wilson Junior High School in Detroit. is where the lock incident occurred. And maybe they still have the records. It was, you know, 51, 52 years ago, but maybe they still have them.
And the other incidents too?
Which other incident?
With your mother, all of these, the other, with Bob and Jerry, which one's the
Well-
lock? You know, we haven't really aligned both names up with each.
Well, the incident with my mother, she, I, and my brother were the only people who were there.
What do you make of the fact that you mentioned people seem to have a recollection when questions were asked? Everybody that has been spoken to says, I don't remember these incidents.
Well, why would they? Why would they remember them? I mean, I think that is, you know, as a scientist who does investigations, that is the most lame investigation I have ever seen, where you get people and you find people that, random people in the neighborhood who knew me. Well, you obviously must know about that specific incident. What a bunch of garbage. Only people who would know about that would be the people who were involved. Because,
Carson, for the first time last night you mentioned.
but wait a minute, let me finish. You would need to talk to the people who were involved in the incident. Now, I have said, if they wish to come forward and have a barrage of media, they're welcome to do so. I would in no way discourage them or encourage them to do that. But that's a choice that's up to them. It would be very unfair.
Complication that this is causing you having to.
I don't think it's causing a complication. And here's my prediction. My prediction is that all of you guys trying to pile on is actually going to help me. Because when I go out to these book signings, I see these thousands of people, they say, don't let the media get you down. Don't let them disturb you. Please continue to fight for us. See, they understand that this is a witch hunt.
Dr. Carson, you mentioned for the first time last night that.
How important is the African American vote?
This gentleman.
How do you think you can actually rely on that support? I mean, maybe through the primary, but at some point you're going to have to get to the substantive issues and stop.
And that's exactly what I'm trying to do, get to the substantive issues. This is all subterfuge. Things that happened 45, 50 years ago. That's all.
Let's get them out of the way and move on. You say
As far as I'm concerned,
people that you're running for president.
as far as I'm concerned, they are out of the way. Now, and let me just say one other thing. I do not remember this level of scrutiny for one President Barack Obama when he was running. In fact, I remember just the opposite. I remember people just, oh, well, we won't really talk about that. We won't talk about that relationship. Well, Frank Marshall Davis, well, we don't want to talk about that. Bernadine Dorn, Bill Ayers, you know, he didn't really know him. You know, all the things that Jeremiah Wright was saying, not a big problem. Goes to Occidental College, doesn't do all that well, and somehow ends up at Columbia University. Well, I don't know. His records are sealed. Why is his record sealed? Why are you guys not interested in why his records are sealed? Why are you not interested in that? Let me ask that. Can somebody tell me why,
Why do you
please?
think they are?
I'm asking you why it's sealed. Why? No, don't change it. I'm asking you, will someone tell me, please, why you have not investigated that? I want to know.
Why are you raising it?
Why? Because I want to know. You should want to know, too. The president, wait a minute. Hold on 1 minute. 1 second here. Now, you're saying that something that happened with the words a scholarship was offered is a big deal, but the President of the United States, his academic records being sealed is not. Tell me, wait a minute, tell me how there's equivalency there. It doesn't matter where it is. Tell me how, that is a silly argument. Tell me how there's equivalence there. Tell me how there is equivalence there. Tell me somebody, please. Because you see, what you're not going to find with me is somebody who's just going to sit back and let you be completely unfair without letting the American people know what's going on. And the American people are waking up to your games.
Dr. Carson, Daphne Taylor, South Florida Times. Do you think that there would have been this level of scrutiny about your so-called violent past if you hadn't brought it up yourself? Like if they had found this information out beforehand, before you disclosed it, do you think you would be treated the same?
Well, let me put it this way. If everybody here will sign an affidavit saying that if I reveal the name of the person involved in this stabbing incident, that you will be singing my praises and none of this stuff will ever go on again, I'll think about it. Will you do that? Yes? Yes? Yes, yes, yes?
Dr. Carson, our job is to ask questions and try to vet people
Hey,
for the highest office in the land.
Yeah, well, my job is to call you out when you're unfair, and I'm going to continue to do that.
Are other facts in the book accurate? You're saying this is just the one thing that...
What is just the one thing?
The deal with the West
What about the West Point thing is false?
saying,
What is
you're
false
saying
about
this
it?
was one thing, but is everything else in the book accurate?
As far as I know, it's accurate, yes.
Do you feel like it was dishonest or not? It seems like you're.
Wait a minute, hold on.
Donald Trump has said, he tweeted out very soon after this came out, that this is one of many lies of Dr. Ben Carson, and it's a big story. What would be your response?
What would you expect Donald Trump to say with somebody who's running neck and neck with him? What would you expect him to say?
For someone to say it's dishonest, it seems like today the reports have been that you said you received a full scholarship. You did
I
not.
never said I received a full scholarship.
Do you feel
I
like there
never,
was-
wait a minute, don't lie. I never said that I received a full scholarship. Nowhere did I say that.
There have been reports today is what I'm trying to say.
Politico, as you know, told a bold-faced lie. They've been called out on that by the Washington Post and by the New York Times, and I'm sure there'll be several others who will call them out on that, because there are actually some people with integrity in your business.
What I'm trying to get
You
at is
just
you
said, you
say
just
that
told
it was
me
honesty.
that you got a scholarship offer. You just said that.
No, she said that I got a scholarship. I never said I got a scholarship.
So
I
you
had
didn't get a
people.
scholarship.
I had people who said yes, that I could get a scholarship to West Point, and I told them that I wasn't interested, that I was going to pursue medicine.
Dr. Carson, could you
confirm that
be
you
clear
never
about this, and this wouldn't be an issue now? Did you make a mistake in the way you characterized this?
I don't think so. I think it's perfectly clear. I think there are people who want to make it into a mistake. I'm not going to say it is a mistake, so forget about it.
Dr. Carson, all the information about the violent past, why is that so important? Why is that an issue? Why is that important for your background?
Well, it's important to me because it was the transformation for me. That's when I became a person who really understood the power of God in a person's life. And it created a whole new relationship between me and God at that point.
Moving forward, why we're here tonight, the African American vote, is that important to you? And are you doing a good enough job with polling? And would you like to see that go up?
It's a very important demographic. All demographics, I think, are very
All right, you've been listening to Dr. Ben Carson speaking to reporters there live in Florida. This is the most animated, agitated, alive you have seen Dr. Ben Carson. He was taking